Hey, book besties. Welcome to the More Than a Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Leyna.
And I'm your other host, LJ. And you did that differently.
I know. I was saying it and I'm like, this is different than what I normally
The,
say. Just to throw you
the.
off, LJ.
And I had to comment on it. So it's fine because I throw you off sometimes too. But today we are going to have fun talking about Project Hail Mary, both the book and the movie, even though I read
Yes.
the book like 5 years ago and don't remember anything.
So my husband and I read this book together. This is one that we were both joint reading. This was his Christmas present. I got him this and I was like, okay, we've read two Mistborn books. Let's try something a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm hoping next time to get him even more off the beaten path. But this was
You're
recommended to
working
me.
from
Yep.
fantasy to
Yep.
fiction. So, and this
I'm
is
going to
kind
get
of in
there.
between. So, yeah.
So this was a good book in general. It's funny. And I thought it was a great, like, I hadn't read it when it came out. I was like, oh, I'm going to read this book. And I think I had downloaded the audio and just
Okay.
never listened to it.
All right. In case people have been living under a rock, it is a 2021 hard science fiction novel by Andy Weir, who's the author of The Martian, which is also a movie that I haven't
Mhm.
seen or read, about Ryland
So
Grace.
good.
Okay, I need to do that. Okay, about Ryland Grace, a middle school science teacher who wakes up on a spaceship with amnesia, tasked with a mission to save Earth from an extinction level threat called astrophage. The story follows his journey as he pieces together his past through flashbacks, solves complex scientific problems, and makes an unexpected first contact with the alien named Rocky, with whom he must collaborate to save both their species. It's known for its blend of humor, scientific problem solving, and an optimistic tone, and it is a newly released movie right now starring Ryan Gosling.
And I thought Ryan Gosling did a great job of playing Grace.
He was perfect for the role. The comedic timing
Yes.
was
And
perfect.
the glasses hanging off, like,
Yes, I loved that. And by the way,
if
that's
you
such
if
a
you haven't
teacher
seen the
thing.
movie yet, like it is so funny to watch him with his glasses halfway off and his little comfy cardigans. And
Yes.
then just to see him in space and all of his, I don't know. I saw a meme the other day that was really funny because in the movie, there's like a projection room where they go
Yeah.
into and they can see different spots on Earth. And one of his spots that he goes to is a beach.
Mhm.
And the meme was, even if Ryan Gosling is in another movie other than the Barbie movie, he still
Yeah.
can. And his job is still beach.
Yes, you sent that the other day. It was so
I was
funny.
like, that cracked me up so much.
And it's
But
so true.
it is. So, are you a movie person or do you like to go to the theater? Do you like to watch movies at home? Which one is preferred for you?
Okay, so I feel like it's changed. And even last night, so I went to it last night, you guys. It was Friday night, even though this is releasing on a Monday. And we went to Movie House and Eatery, which, if you're not local or it's not in your city, it's basically a dine in with the seats that adjust to where you can, put your feet up and put your head back and things like that. And when we were leaving last night, we were kind of like, we don't really care if we come back here. Like the food used to be really good when it first opened, and
It did, yeah.
they do put some new stuff in. I will say at this point in time, the thing that I would say is really good is their buffalo cauliflower. But most people aren't going to want that, So, and their fried cheese sticks were good, but everything else is just like, is it worth the money? And so most theaters have
I
this
do
type of
remember it
seating.
being expensive.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I remember.
most theaters have these kind of seats now, and you have reserved seating, whereas when these type of movies like Studio Movie Girl first came out, those were the ones that had the seating. Like otherwise other ones really didn't. And so with that in mind, I used to love going to the movies. I loved it in high school. I loved it in college. And that was before assigned seating and the uncomfortable seats, and we were just excited when a theater had stadium seating.
Yep.
But no, I think I prefer to watch at home these days.
I'm kind of the same way. I think I feel nostalgia for
Hmm.
movies. Like that was my
Yeah.
first job, was working at a movie theater back when Star Wars Episode 1 came out,
Hmm.
way back when. And I remember like the smell of popcorn still
Yeah.
gets me. Like sometimes I can't smell it without thinking of that and how much I smelled it that summer and how much burned popcorn.
Oh
But
gosh, yeah.
like I used to love going to the movies before we had kids. Like that would be my birthday treat was I would go to see a double feature. And I
I've
even did
never
that.
done that.
It's so fun. If there's two movies, three movies that you really want to watch, you can just go and then schedule it to be like an hour later. And now they do have food at movie theaters. They have
Yeah.
bars at movie theaters, at our movie
Right.
theater anyway.
Yeah.
So there's stuff to do in between. So you could take a break and then go back. It is a lot of sitting, and if you're
Oh, I
like
don't mind
me, you
that.
usually have to get up and go use the bathroom.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's, I think, one of the reasons that I like watching movies at home now is because you can pause it. You can,
Huh. And go to the
like, oh,
bathroom.
hey, I need to stand up and walk around. I need to go get
Yeah.
something, all of
Yeah.
those things.
That
But
makes sense.
the other thing is there's some people that just talk so much at the movie. And I'm like, if I'm going to pay that much money, because tickets aren't cheap, if I'm going to
Mhm.
pay that much to go to a movie theater, have some common courtesy, have some respect, and be quiet.
Okay, this made me think
Don't
of
look at your
Claudia.
phone.
This made me think of Claudia, not because she did that at the movie, because she was with me. By the way, she listened to the last episode, listeners, because her friend texted her and said she was mentioned at a certain timestamp. So thank you, Michelle. So Claudia listened and corrected me. She was not actually a professional bowler, but she was a very good amateur bowler. But anyway, we're watching the trailers, before the movie starts, and like we're watching one, and something happens, and my mom turns to me as like, "Who is so and so?" Like they're referencing a character. I'm like, "Mom, I have no idea." I haven't seen this movie. Like, she's like, "Oh, I didn't know." And so it was really funny. I was like, I have no idea who some random character. No, but there was something else I was gonna say with regards to the theaters. There are certain movies that I'm gonna go to the theater for. Every new release of a Jurassic World movie, I will go to the theater. That is like a big thing. Otherwise, I don't really care. Like those are the only like Wicked. I wanted to see both of those in the theater, but and all the Harry Potters, oh my gosh, amazing. But, like, nowadays, I don't know what would need to be adapted. Oh, I'm gonna wanna go The Devil Wears Prada too, because I won't wanna wait. But
There's
anyway, all
several
right.
movies coming out this year that I want to see in the theater.
Yeah. But normally, I'm just like, "I'll watch it home when it comes out."
One is the Sheep Detective movie that is going to come out because I've been reading Three Bags Full, and so I'm like, now I want to go see it. I'm invested.
Is that what it's
For
based on?
yes, so
Okay.
it's a whole book series. So I started the first book, but
Okay. I saw a preview for it last night. I don't remember the date. The only one I paid attention to was the Devil Wears Prada. No, that wasn't that. I saw a thing today about that. That comes out May 1st, in case you're wondering.
well,
Never mind. They
I
didn't have
have
that
it
one there.
on my phone, saved on
Yes.
my calendar for when it comes out. So,
Fun.
and we went to go see Project Hail Mary for my birthday, which just happened to be a Tuesday. And Cinemark movies have a cheap movie day, and that day
Hmm.
is Tuesday. So I treated me and Derek to go see the movie with the D-box seats,
Yeah.
which it's like haptic technology, haptic motion technology. I had to Google what that was like. I don't know what that means. But
Me
basically
neither.
the seats move with the movie. So if like the rocket is going up, your seat goes back. If you're falling forward, you're going like
Okay.
you
What
move the
about
entire
when
time.
it's like,
It did not
roller?
do like G forces or anything like
Okay.
that because
Okay.
I have been on like some Disney rides. I feel like there was one that puts you in to like a really fast thing that was supposed to make it feel like you were an astronaut, and I felt
Okay.
so sick. So I would not want to experience that.
No.
This, though, I feel like it's a new technology, a few years anyway. I know Derek was not a big fan. It has where you can adjust it on your seat to have three different levels.
Okay.
And at first, I was a little motion sick. I felt like I needed some Dramamine, but as it went on, it got better. There were a couple of parts, though, like when you're meeting the character Rocky and he jumps up
Gosh.
and the seat moved and it got like, because you can hear it. It's really loud too, because
Okay.
you have your own like speakers or whatever. And I literally jumped in my seat. So it was kind of fun. I don't know if I would do it again. I've heard this movie is really good if you go to like an IMAX. So
I
that's another
bet.
way to go see it. Although someone mentioned it and I have to agree, IMAX seating is usually not very comfortable.
No, it's
And
not.
I think we have all been spoiled by being able to put our feet up and have the seat warmers and all of that.
Yep. Yep.
But
It's true. So,
so
no.
since this was a book that my husband had read, this was the first book that he's read that there was a movie adaptation.
Hmm.
And I'd given him this book for Christmas. We had put off reading it. I listened
Yeah.
to it on audiobook and I listened to it super fast. The night before we went and saw the movie, he read 150 pages of this book so that he could go see the
I
movie
love it.
and have read the whole book. This was the first time that he was ever able to say this, but it got done and he was like, the book was better.
Welcome to the dark side, friend.
And he was like, is this always the case? Is the book always better? And I'm like, there's a reason that's a famous, saying is because most parts the book is better, in my
Which, funny
opinion.
story. So, The Devil Wears Prada 2, there was a sequel book to it. And I
Was
hope it
there?
doesn't
Okay.
follow that because I remember not liking the sequel. Like, they make the Emily character kind of bad. So, I hope they did their own thing with this. I think they probably did because the first movie's so iconic. I'm sure
Yeah.
this one's going to be amazing too. But anyway, that just made me think of that because that is one where I actually did like the
The
movie
movie
more
better.
than the book.
This
Yeah.
one I felt like
They did a good
it was
job,
a
I feel like.
it was really good. If I hadn't read the book, I probably would have been completely floored by this movie and
Yeah.
just loved
Oh,
every
yeah.
second of it.
Yes.
But having read the book, there were some things that were left out that I really wanted to see in there. It did have a runtime of 2 hours and 36 minutes.
Which flew by. It did not
It
feel
flew
like it was
by,
that long.
and I didn't even have to get up to use the bathroom.
I didn't
So
either.
I was like, this is impressive.
Yeah,
But
same.
it's a almost 500-page count book. So it
They
is
could only fit in so
a
much.
thick book. They could only fit in so much. And I heard that first I heard it was a director's cut, and then I was Googling and it said it's an early assembly cut, and that was 4 hours long. And they were like, people are not going to sit through this. I might have.
Maybe not in
I
the
was like,
theater.
if they released like an extended edition,
Yeah.
extended
Like to
version,
watch
like
at
Lord of the
home.
Rings,
Yeah,
I would
that's different.
probably watch the extended version of this just
But at
because,
home, where you can
yeah,
pause it.
where you can pause it and go use the bathroom and make a snack. I definitely would watch that. One of the things that I was really sad that they left out of the movie that I thought was really important was the whole gene thing.
I don't remember this.
If you read the book, the reason that Ryan Gosling's character, or Grace, was chosen for this mission was not just because he had all the scientific information. Yes, that was part of it,
Mhm.
but there was only like a certain amount of people in the world that possessed this gene that would allow them to potentially live through the cryogenically frozen stage coma thing. So in the book, he had this gene, and whenever they were testing other people,
Mhm.
they just kind of tested him, but he never found out the results. And right before, gosh, what was her name? The head
No idea.
scientist lady.
No idea what her name is. The
Starts with an
lady.
S, I feel like. Anyway, the lady, the main head lady, she had found out the information. And whenever, give away spoilers here, there's two characters that die, and that forces Ryland Grace to have to be the scientific person on the mission. And whenever they die, she reveals to him that he has the gene and this is what's happening. He doesn't really get much choice in the matter. And I
In the
thought
book,
that
did
was,
he run away like that? Because I didn't remember that.
he gets thrown in the brig, basically, and they sedate him and put him on the plane or on
Okay,
the
so that
spaceship.
does happen in the book. I didn't
Yeah.
remember that.
So it does happen in the book. And he wakes up, he has the amnesia, just like in the book. I noticed that they did not show the poop tube
Yeah,
because
I know. I was
in the
waiting
book
for
they
that.
mentioned that several times. And
Yeah, I was wondering, but I'm actually glad they didn't. But I was like, I was wondering if they were going to do that.
I thought they were going to reference it at some point because in the
Uh,
movie or in the book, they talked about it for
yeah,
several pages.
yeah,
And just because I know in hospitals, they'll do that if you're in a coma because
yeah. They have to.
whatever. Yeah. So I was very curious about that. It did not come out in the movie, which
Nope.
again, it would probably have been a rated R movie at that point.
Yeah, for real.
But I thought him waking up with the amnesia and not remembering anything and just being freaked out, I thought that was very realistic.
It
And the
was
way
so
that he
realistic.
went and was searching around the ship and was like, what's going on?
Hmm.
The book made it seem like that was a longer process from when he
Yeah.
initially woke up to exploring the ship, finding his other crewmates, all of that. Overall, they did a good job. You also only have so much time in a movie, and people are going to get bored.
Yes.
What did you think of the science aspects?
I think that the movie did a good job of making it easy to follow
Yes.
because in the book it is very complex, and but at least in the book you can reread it, whereas in a movie you can't. And so at first I was like, "Oh, this is going to be confusing." And then they really did. I think they did a good job of incorporating characters that needed an explanation in layman's terms, like the guy when he's like, "Do we have a budget?" He's like, "No, but I do." You know, like that guy and
Yeah.
like, "Okay, what
Yeah.
are we doing? What's happening?" And so I think that was good for us to follow along. And then hearing the conversations with him and Rocky and explaining things, I think it helped that they had to use somewhat simpler language in order to communicate. What about you though?
That did make it really nice. And for me, I'm not really a sciencey person. And I have to admit, whenever I was reading some of it, I would like skim pages
Yeah,
because I was
same.
just like, this is not going to stick with me. And I made sure like I read it and understood the concepts. But
Yes.
once I got that, I just kind of skimmed over it. And some of the things I felt were better portrayed in the movie than having read them, just because you could visually see what's going on.
Hmm.
One thing that was interesting to me, though, was in the book, there's a lot of internal dialogue
Yes.
and how they
Yes.
translated that, because I always find it interesting whenever you have a book with internal dialogue, like, how are they going to do that? And I had wondered that. He talked to himself a little bit.
Yeah. Which I mean, I think we all would if we're by ourselves. I do.
Yeah.
I
I'm,
talk to myself or the cats.
yeah. Especially if you're by yourself and for that long, because
Yeah.
in the book, I think it was a while before he ran into Rocky's ship.
Yeah, it was. It was not that's why, like, when I saw the trailer, I was so mad that they showed it because I was like, "I want it to be a surprise." I feel like that should have been like, you don't know what he looks like, anyway, and it was I would say, I almost feel like it was the first half at least that Rocky wasn't in it yet, but maybe I'm wrong. It was 5 years ago.
What did you think about Rocky? Like, was he visually what you expected?
No, but I think I gave up trying to understand what he looked like when reading, but I loved how he was. And I just at first it was kind of like, huh, and then just seeing the evolution of them spending time together, it just was cute. But what about you?
I was not, I know that in the book it describes him and he has 8 legs like a spider. I was a little freaked out when I read it in the book because I
Yeah.
hate spiders and I'm
Yeah.
just picturing this spider-like creature, kind of like from
Mhm.
Harry Potter whenever they go out there and
Yeah.
they meet the giant
Mhm.
Harathorn. I want to call him Aragon, but I don't think that's right either. I think that is Lord of the Rings.
That it? Yeah. I don't know.
I
Now
don't
you're
know. But
making me
but whatever
question
his
things.
name is, Robin, if you're listening to this, she's probably yelling at the podcast right now, like, it's
Sorry,
this.
Robin.
But I was not as scared of him as I thought I was going to be. So that was nice. I also liked that they made him very rock-like and
Mhm.
kind of explained why
The
he
name.
was calling
Yeah.
him Rocky and all that.
Yeah.
What did you think? Because I know you sold me on this book by saying that this was one of your favorite friendships in a
Yes.
book.
This is, I would say, my favorite fictional friendship. And I think just watching the movie, I don't think you grasp it. Like when you get to spend so much time with them, because it does take like the language barrier seems to be fixed really fast, but it is a movie. Whereas you get a little bit more detail of how he went about that in the book, but just all the things they went through. Now, I will say I teared up a few times in the movie, even though I knew what would happen. It's still just the emotion and just how adorable they were together. You could say, which this is spoiler. I mean, spoiler alert, big spoiler alert, like ending spoiler alert. like he doesn't have to think twice about going back to Rocky. And I think a big part of him, like, even though, yes, he wanted to go back to Earth, like thinking that's the only way he could stay alive, he didn't have anyone waiting for him. But Rocky was this, like, probably, if not the one of the deepest relationships he's had with another creature. So that part was just so moving. Just, all of it. Like when he's like, I can't let Rocky just die. And, you
And not
know,
only Rocky, but Rocky's whole civilization,
yes, his
which I found
mate.
very interesting because Grace at first does not want to go to space to save Earth, but
Nope.
he's willing because he's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to
Right.
go on a suicide mission, but he's willing to go, like, he's
Potentially on a
basically
suicide
willing to
mission.
go on a suicide mission to go save Rocky and his civilization. So it makes me wonder what's the difference there.
Yeah.
And maybe it was this friendship that he had found, and Rocky did have a mate. And I think in the book, they also explain they didn't know about time being different on the planet versus
Yeah.
on the spaceship. And so he was like your mate in his head and his internal dialogue. Ryan Gosling's character, I keep calling him that, but Grace,
Grace. Yeah.
he had been thinking like Rocky, probably everyone that he loved is either very aged or dead, possibly. And that was a sad realization in the book that it wasn't translated into the
No.
movie at all. But
Yeah.
that might have spoiled things if it had been.
Yeah.
So I guess that was nice to keep out.
Hmm.
I loved the ending of both the movie and the book,
Yeah. Oh, I did
and I felt
too.
like they captured that very well.
They did capture that very well. I agree 100% that they did. And the only thing, I mean, I guess I'm glad they ended where it was because it's very positive because we also know in the book, ultimately, and that was kind of sweet too. But I thought that was a perfect ending the way they did it.
I agree. And I think that Grace's character is always a middle school science teacher at heart.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I felt like that was a very fitting place for him to end up, was
Yes.
teaching at the, what were his people called? The rock people,
Yeah. The Iridians, maybe?
Iridians. I was like, why am I not remembering any of this? All
Yeah,
the names. But
I know.
it was really good. I think overall, I would definitely go see the movie. And
Hmm.
most people that I've talked to have said the movie really captures the essence of the book, which I would agree with.
I agree with that. Yes, it does.
Did you have any favorite part?
I liked the part when he teaches him about a hug. And it's funny. And he's like, how do we know when it's over? And he's like, you just know. You just feel it. And then every time like something bad happens and then they're okay, how like they both go to hug and it's just,
Yes.
that's my favorite. What about you?
I think whenever they're learning to communicate and they first meet each other, and Rocky is trying to communicate things and Grace is just not getting it. And then
Hmm.
Grace is like, oh, he probably thinks I'm really stupid
Yeah.
because he's doing all this stuff and building all these things. And
Yeah.
Grace is just not getting it. And it was kind of fun to see that because in the end, we discover that Rocky's civilization, they might have some advanced things, but Earth has advanced in different ways. So they're both intelligent, but intelligent in different ways, and they
Hmm.
both have different roles.
Yes.
Rocky is not a science person. He's an engineer. Like he was brought on to build things. And
Yeah. Which we get to see that so much in the movie, which is really
yes.
cool.
And I think that I really loved whenever Rocky came on board in his little hamster wheel ball, just because I was like, how are they going to show that in the movie? What's that going to look like?
Hmm.
And it was really fun to see a visual of that because even in the book, I had trouble imagining what that looked
Hmm.
like other than a hamster ball. And I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
how does that go through a spaceship? How does that work?
Well, and that was so funny when he's like, "What is this room? The trash room? Dirty, dirty, dirty." Like everywhere.
He
And
did have some really good quotes. The
yes.
amaze, 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 fist my bump.
Yeah, fist my bump. Thumbs up.
Yes, thumbs up. And then he would do a thumbs down.
Yeah.
So And I did like whenever they were, I think it's really when they're first meeting and Grace is like, let's do a little
Dancing.
dance and
Yeah.
see if he follows his movements, and he does. So it was just kind of like that primitive communication, talking. I don't know what I would do if I ever saw an alien. I would
I
probably be
don't know
freaked out.
either. Yeah. Well, in that moment when he had to take off, when he told him that he could take off his helmet.
Yes. And he's like, well, this is either going to go really good or really bad, like one way or another. But he
Mm-hmm.
trusted him at that point, or he
Yeah.
was giving him trust. So
Yes.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was.
Did you have a favorite character?
Rocky.
I think that is my favorite character as well. And
Yeah.
he's funny, he's smart, he's loving, and
Yes.
he's so thankful whenever Grace comes for him.
Yes.
And he had
Well,
been
and then
so
when he
lonely.
saves Grace's life and like,
Yes,
and he's getting
risks his
burned
own
up.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And I felt like, maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like in the book there were two separate instances. One where Rocky saved Grace, and then another one where Grace saved Rocky. But I
yeah,
felt like
what,
they combined them a little bit.
yeah, I think they might have been, yeah, I don't know. You read it most recently, so you would know better than I would.
True. I could be totally wrong.
But you're
Overall,
probably not.
I would say go read the book, watch the movie,
Mm-hmm.
see what you think about both of them.
Yes,
I don't think you could go wrong with whichever one you choose if you only choose one.
I agree.
Sometimes, it is a 500-page book or close to. I think it was like 496. Sometimes it's hard to read a big book. I get intimidated by them. That's why I listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to choose one, choose whichever one you're comfortable with.
Yes. And don't feel like you have to do both. Because I know there are a lot of people that are like, I must read the book before I see the movie. I used to be that person. And then I realized that sometimes, like, I thought about rereading Project Hail Mary. And then I was like, you know what? For me, when I do that, sometimes movies are boring the first time I watch them because it's too, like, I'm too close to both. Whereas if I watch a movie first and then read the book, I am more likely to like both of them than if, so I think don't feel like you have to do it in a certain order.
And for me, there's certain parts that like I understood it better
Hmm.
as the movie rather than the book. And the
Yeah.
same thing with all the Jane Austen books we've read
Hmm.
over the last few years. The
Yes.
movies made way more sense to me than the books did, and being able to visually see things and hear them and see their action, like, it was way
Yeah.
different. So
Ooh, maybe that's
sometimes,
what I'm going to do today. It's a rainy day here, you guys. Maybe I get in bed
yes,
and watch
it's
some Jane Austen.
rainy, a little chilly. I have a sick
Yeah.
kid, but
All the things.
all the things that make it just a perfect day, maybe for like a grilled cheese sandwich and some tomato
Hmm.
soup.
Yep. Yep. Sounds good.
Does sound good.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
I don't even remember what I was saying. That's what happens.
Jane
Oh, I was talking
Austen
about Jane Austen.
and movies making it easier
Yes.
to understand.
And I do think that that is the case with some movies. I prefer the Jurassic Park movie to the Jurassic Park book. And
I
that
know,
may
and
be
I love
because
them all.
I saw the movie first.
I did too, though. I don't know. I will say I can acknowledge like the first like 100 pages of Jurassic Park are very sciency. And I think the only reason I still even read that part is nostalgia because I remember reading it and like trying so hard to understand because back then I'm like, I'm going to be a paleontologist like Dr. Alan Grant and da da da. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That was, little LJ's idea.
Little Leyna wanted to be an archaeologist at one point, and I was
Same.
convinced. I was like, I need to go dig up all these rocks, and I collected rocks because I
I
thought that
love
that was
that.
something that I could dig up, and I collected arrowheads because we lived in Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's cool.
yeah, I'm going to Pompeii in the fall, and I'm so excited to go because I want to go see all the ruins there, and I can live out my
Yes.
archaeological dreams.
Yay. I'm excited to see pictures.
Yes. But anyway, I think that's just about all I have to say about Project Hail Mary, other than go see it, go read the book, go do
Hmm.
all the things. The audiobook is really good
Good to
because
know. So is the physical book, which is what I
the way
read.
that Rocky talks is through it's almost like musical notes, musical noises, and you get to hear those in the
That is
audiobook.
cool.
So I thought that that was like an added bonus because I was
That
like, how are
is.
they going to translate that to a physical book?
Yeah.
So I
No, I
am a
think
little bit
that's
curious.
cool. That's really cool. So
You got to hear that. But anyway, do you have anything else to add, or you?
the one thing I will say for those on the fence whether to read or watch first, something that I do like when I read a book after watching, I can picture all the characters.
Yes.
I do like that. So at least it makes, especially when you read descriptions of Rocky and it's kind of hard to put. I mean, I guess you could just look up a picture of him or a short clip, but still.
And for me, I had seen the trailer for the movie by the time I read the book,
Mhm.
and I was picturing Ryan Gosling in my head.
Yeah, that
So,
would make that easier too.
and I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what it was.
Hey, I mean, I think it was good. It makes it easier. So that's how I felt with Heated Rivalry. I watched the show and then I read the book and I could picture all of the people in the book because I knew what, and I could hear their voices, which was nice.
So I met someone the other day and they were talking about Heated Rivalry. And
Yeah.
I was like, I tried listening to the audiobook and she was like, oh, it's horrible. And I was like, I know.
I tell you what, though, if they, because was a rumor that they were going to re-record the book with the two of them. And if they do that, I will get that and listen to that.
And I will too. I would be very interested. That other audiobook was just horrible.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll
Yeah.
end on that note. We'll have a shorter episode this time, but sometimes that's not too bad.
No.
And I think I know we have 2 episodes that we're planning. We're going to talk about the Book Witch and then also do our April Literary Lately. Not sure
Yes.
in what order those will go, but we will see.
We'll see.
We had kind of switched up this episode. If you're part of our Patreon community, we send out a newsletter that everyone gets, our free newsletter, whether you're a paid member or a free member. And I had put down the podcast schedule, and this episode was actually supposed to be released last week, but LJ hadn't seen the movie yet.
Nope. It was hard. We were supposed to go one day and then my kids couldn't go. And then it ended up just being my mom, my son, and me. My stepdad and my daughter did not want to go. It
I
was
thought it
fine.
was
We were
funny.
happy.
My
Yeah.
son, Danny, and Piper, for that, both of them, we had asked them if they wanted to go for my birthday. And they were like, no, no, thank you. And then on my actual birthday, my son, I love him, but he can be so absent-minded sometimes. And he texted me and he was like, since it's almost your birthday, because he forgot that my birthday was the 31st of March and thought it was the 1st of April, since it's almost your birthday, do you want me to pick up supper so that you don't have to cook? And he was on his way home from something. And I was like, honey, it is my birthday. And Dad and I are going to go see Project Hail Mary. And then he was like, oh, don't tell me what happens because I've heard it's a really good movie and I want to see it.
Kids.
And I was like, oh my gosh, child. Well, he'll
Ugh,
get to see it someday. He'll probably get to see it at home. But that's okay.
right?
That's what he gets.
Yep, that's what he gets.
All right. Well, until next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to More Than a Book Club podcast. We are recorded and produced in McKinney, Texas.
Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast and follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.